Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport, and today was the Singapore Grand Prix, and if I'm going to be honest right out of the gate, this was a pretty dull race. We saw very little overtaking, and again, it just proves how worthless DRS is because they've taken a few corners out of the Singapore track and added another DRS zone to aid overtaking at this street circuit, and it's clearly not working. Not a lot happened in this race. I don't have a lot to talk about. Once again, what's happening off the track is maybe more interesting than what's going on the track. So, we'll talk about the race quickly first. Massive gaps between pretty much everyone towards the end. There was no real fighting on track, apart from Charles Leclerc catching George Russell towards the end. I don't think anyone was really that close. Perez was chasing Hulkenberg, but then he chased him the whole race and couldn't get past, so I don't think there was much hope of that. I was just bored. Really, really bored during this race. Didn't help that I watched Super GT right before it, so I had already watched 2 hours of Motorsport beforehand. But it doesn't mean it's bored. Like, that doesn't normally stop me in my tracks from finding something interesting. This was just dull. Nothing happened. Lando Norris, great result. He made a couple of mistakes, but got lucky and held on to the win. Verstappen, 20 seconds behind him, doing fine. Seconds pretty much all he needs to do for the rest of the year. Oscar Piastri did a really good job to get up to third. He showed pace in the middle of the race, made his medium tyres last a long time. He was only like 15 or 16 seconds behind Verstappen by the end. George Russell was another 20 seconds back. He was on older tyres than Leclerc, but he held him off, and Leclerc didn't really even get that close. Hamilton behind them was another 20 seconds or so back. Carlos Sainz was behind him by quite a distance. It pretty much goes on like that. Great race for Fernando Alonso and Nico Hulkenberg in the points for pretty much the whole race. Hulkenberg, fantastic in qualifying again. Definitely the best Haas driver right now. Sergio Perez not being able to get past him, I think, is embarrassing. Whilst we're talking about replacing Daniel Ricciardo, I would probably chuck out Sergio Perez as well. Franco Colapinto did a really good job, even though he didn't get into the points. He was in 11th, and he wasn't that far behind Sergio Perez. Yuki Tsunoda was about 20 seconds behind him, and then the gaps continue like that all the way down to however many cars finished. The controversy at the end of this race was Daniel Ricciardo getting the fastest lap from McLaren. But it may be his last race. There's been some suggestion that it was unsportsmanlike behaviour, although McLaren kind of stopped short saying that. It would be stupid to pursue it because it wasn't. It's Daniel Ricciardo. If it is his last race, he is a very successful Formula 1 driver with a long career. It's nice just to have even a token medallion to take away from your last race, if it indeed is. So I don't blame Daniel Ricciardo for going for the fastest lap, and I don't think it was unsportsmanlike behaviour. Honestly, anything else in terms of the race, I can't think of anything. Carlos Sainz crashed in qualifying, and I thought, oh god, here we go, he's going to have a bad weekend. He actually did a really good job, pitted early, and caught up with the leading cars. He did alright. The top 10 in the points all finished in the top 10 in the race, which shows you how exciting it is right now. Yeah, that's it, really. That was the Singapore Grand Prix. Off the track. So, as I said, might be Daniel Ricciardo's last race, and Liam Lawson might be back in, is it Texas up next? Which I would be glad to see, because I think Liam Lawson was great on his few appearances he made. Was it last year he replaced Daniel Ricciardo for a few races? They should have just stuck with him then, because Daniel Ricciardo hasn't really done anything on his return. He should never have returned. And I think Liam Lawson deserves the seat. There's pretty much nothing else except the swearing. Obviously, swearing is the most evil thing in the world, even above murder. And now the FIA have made rules against it. And it's been a bit of a cluster. I won't swear because I don't want to get sanctioned by the FIA. But, Mohammed bin Saladhead came out and said he didn't want them swearing because they're not rappers, and only rappers they swear. And then Lewis Hamilton said it's probably a racial thing. It might be. I think it's more of an older generation cultural thing. It's more of a these kids today get off my lawn sort of thing. But that being said, Mohammed bin Sulayem should definitely be removed as FIA president, however that process goes about, because he has ruled over a pretty bizarre tenure of Formula One history. Everything from banning politics to now banning swearing. It's going to get to the point where they're going to ban talking or turning up at races. Because it is silly. And honestly, I can't see how they can police it, because Verstappen did the mandated interview with the press after the race or after qualifying, and he gave short answers and basically said we'll do it outside because it won't be like FIA sanctioned then. I don't know if he'll get in trouble for that as well, but the punishment for him swearing on Thursday was he has to do something of public interest, which is the most vague thing in the world. He could go out and pick up a bit of litter. Would that count? Do it on his YouTube channel? Or just post it on X? Doesn't really make much sense to me, but it's probably better than a fine. I don't really like the idea of people being fined for saying words they're not supposed to, within reason. It's a mess. Formula One's a bit of a mess. The racing just isn't that great most of the time on track. DRS has long since been a bugbear of mine, and I don't think it helps racing. It might help the overtakes here and there, but it doesn't help racing. It's not racing to overtake someone. It's the battle to get past. And DRS either makes it too easy or doesn't seem to affect it at all. So I'm not sure what the point of DRS is right now. Hopefully by 2026 they do something. They're making the cars narrower. That might help. But I do think there are issues with the cars, the tracks they use, the regulations, and most importantly, the governing body. It's all a bit of a mess right now. And it's going to take sacking someone very important to sort things out. And I don't know if that's off the record possible. But I imagine... I mean, it's a governing body and it's politics. There's got to be someone ambitious below Mohammed bin Sulayem who wants to take his place. They could probably stage a coup or something. Maybe Lewis Hamilton could do it. I think he'd actually be really good at that. I don't know what is going to happen next. Honestly, as far as the championship goes, I think I've bigged up to myself that Lando Norris has a chance at the championship, and he does, but it's still a long shot, and I think Max Verstappen is so consistent, and let's be real, Lando Norris has only won 3 races. It's good, but he's going to have to keep winning to be champion, and that's going to be interesting to watch over the course of the year. It's still between Verstappen and Norris, so it's worth keeping an eye on it. I'm not saying don't watch Formula 1. I'm just saying this race was tedious as F. So, with that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This was a fairly short Formula 1 review, but what do you want from me? But nothing happened. It was boring. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you enjoy this? Are you a psychopath? Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one. Better one than this.